Hey guys, what the fuck is up, you guys? My name is emandan64 and welcome to a review of Super Mario 64. Last year, I got Super Mario 3D All-Stars when it came out. I only got it because I didn't own the 3 games within the collection. I own Galaxy 2, but of course that's not in it. This is a terrible collection. But the games in the collection are great. This isn't a review on 3D All-Stars, so I'll talk about that piece of shit. Rather, the first game within the collection. I played 64 DS a while back and thought it was really fun. Aside from the bad controls, I had a really good time with it. I never finished it due to the controls fucking me over on the final level, but after years, I finally got the original game, and I really enjoyed it. Super Mario 64 was the first 3D Mario. Released back in 1996, this is one of the first games of its kind, and it shows. In the game, Bowser kidnaps Peach. Big whoop. And you have to go inside these paintings to another world and collect stars. This is a very different style game for me to review because most of the previous games I reviewed were very story driven, and this game is not at all. There are 120 stars total in the game, but you only need 70 to beat the game. These stars are spread throughout 15 different levels. Each level is different and unique. Well, most of them. Most of them I thought were really good and fun, with good and memorable level design. Each level is contained within a painting. Or maybe the painting is a portal to another world? It's never really explained. These paintings are located in Peach's Castle, the hub world. Peach's Castle is great. This is one of the greatest hub worlds in any video game. It's not too big or complex, but it's great. There is the outside, the main area, the downstairs, and the upstairs. Outside, you could just roam around, and there are some stars to find and mini levels, but there isn't too much. It's a great area to learn how to play though. There is one major issue I faced with the game, and that is the controls and the camera. The controls aren't that terribly bad, but I'm used to the more modern 3D Mario controls that are a lot better. I'm just not a fan of the controls in this game. Mario feels way too slippery, but at the same time, way too stiff. This is a 3D platformer, and 3D platforming requires precise movements. And the controls are not designed for precise movements. It's designed for moving and not stopping. Once Mario is in motion, he is not getting out of motion so easily. Mario is better designed for more open world areas. The open world levels are a lot more fun to play. But the levels with more platforming were annoying and tedious to play. Even though most of the levels were really well designed. Most of the control issues I had were partially my fault for sucking at them, but they were all made worse by the camera. The camera is in its own league. The camera is horrid. I get it was the first of its kind, but it is a major issue. The camera was a pain to angle just right. It was the cause of many deaths I faced. Pretty much the entire game, the camera was working against you. Despite that, I was able to enjoy the levels for what they were. The level design is definitely the best thing about the game. Each level is great and fun and is very replayable. The thing is, this game was better as a foundation for what 3D games would be like in the future. Super Mario 64 is an extremely important game, and if it weren't for this game, gaming would look a hell of a lot different today. Many later games would expand the genre further, but this game was the groundwork. I love the non-linearity of Mario 64. In 2D Marios, you start at World 1 and then you go to World 2, then 3, then onward, with some ways to skip levels or worlds. But in Mario 64, the only objective is to get 70 stars, not how or where you get them. There is only one level that you have to play, and that is the first one. After you get your first star, you could visit Whomp's Fortress, or you could get 3 stars and visit Jolly Roger Bay or Cool Cool Mountain. You can play the game however you want, and I really like that. I prefer more story-based linear games to be honest, but this is Super Mario. I don't expect the game to have to follow a tight story. No, I just want to do what I want and go where I want. And Mario 64 does that perfectly. There are 6 stars to get in all 15 stages. That's 90 stars. Already more than you need. Plus, if you get 100 coins in a stage, you get another star. So that's 15 more. And there are 15 more stars that you could find around the castle and in mini levels, adding up to a whopping 120 stars. That's a lot. There are a few levels that I just don't care for at all, and I could have just skipped them if I wanted to. Of course, I played every level so I could have the best opinion on the game. The game isn't telling you to skip levels though. Rather, it promotes exploration and playing more levels. Some stars you cannot get until you get the invisibility cap, metal cap, or wing cap. So you have to come back to earlier levels. Or some stars are just really hard to get. So if you can't get a star, you could just go get another one and move on and come back to the earlier star. The game does not hold your hand either. It's not a terribly difficult game, but I mean the game doesn't explicitly tell you what to do and where to go. Each star has a short name that guides you where to go. I'll admit I had to look up where some stars were because I couldn't figure it out, but most of the stars were very doable. There were a few that I thought were really stupid and impossible to find on your own, but the majority are easy to get with just the name. The main level of the castle is where you start. You find the first few levels of the game. The first level, Bob-omb Battlefield, is the perfect first level. It is iconic. From the first frame of the area and the music, it is one of the most iconic first levels of any video game. It works extremely well at showing you how to play the game and what the game is capable of. And keep in mind, this is the first of its kind in terms of mainstream video games. The developers had to test what they were capable of, and the players had to test it as well, as the first major 3D platformer. This level is very well designed. The 6 stars are usually similar in the level, but most of them feel very unique. The first star has you climbing the mountain and defeating King Bob-omb. It's funny how the first mission in the game is a boss fight. It's really short and easy though. You just throw him a few times and he's dead. Once you go back in the level, there is another rolling ball, and that is King Bob-omb's body, and you can't tell me otherwise. I really love the minor details in the levels that change over time. It acts as the game's story progression. I'm not really sure what to say here, so I'll just talk about every level in the game and my thoughts on them. Whomp's Fortress is one of the best levels in the game. It is very solid and overall a great level. Aside from the star where you have to shoot yourself at a specific corner of a specific wall, all the stars are great. Jolly Roger Bay is another great level. Ironically, the water controls are actually really good in this game. Aside from being really slow, swimming actually feels natural and good. Jolly Roger Bay is a really interesting level because once you complete the first star, the level changes and you can do a lot more stuff. Once you get the first star, the ship will rise, allowing you to get the red coins on it. Cool Cool Mountain is another really good level. If you know me, I love my snow areas and this place does not disappoint. Those 4 are the main level stages. They are great introduction stages to the game. After you get 8 stars, you can access the first Bowser level. I will talk about these later. After you beat it, you gain access to the basement. Here, you can choose any of the levels you want and not have to open locked doors. The basement levels are all really interesting. They really make the player explore. The first level is not even in the basement, it is in the courtyard. Big Boo's Hunt is a level that is in a birdcage thing that is inside a Boo. I really like this level. It's really closed in, taking place all in a building. Hazy Maze Cave is another cool level. It is basically the toilet of Peach's Castle. I really like the layout for the level. It's definitely not my favorite for the stars that you get in it, but I really like the area. I think it's really cool. Lethal Lava Land is the only basement level that is in a normal painting. It's a pretty standard lava level, but it's another cool one. This one has some really cool areas and platforming. It's the perfect mixture of open world and platforming. I especially like the inside area of the volcano. It's small, but it was really neat. I like the extra areas in some of the levels. I just wish there were more of them and they were bigger. Shifting Sandland is an iffy level for me. I did like it a decent amount. I think it could be kinda annoying at times. Some stars were a pain to get, and it's the first big use for the wing cap. Aside from the initial mini level, which I hated, and a few stars that you could use the wing cap for earlier. I really don't like using the wing cap. The mini level that you get it in was really bad. It was such a pain to use and to get to higher elevations without plummeting to your death. But in Shifting Sandland, it actually works well. Since the whole level is flat, you don't have to worry about getting up to a higher level. But it's still hard to try and aim right. There is another extra area in the pyramid. This area is a lot bigger than the volcano and I really like it. Dire Dire Docks is not a good level. It's one of the weaker levels because of how boring and uninspired it is. Especially because Jolly Roger Bay is such a great level that overshadows Dire Dire Docks. Once you get the first star, you gain access to the next Bowser level, and once you beat him, you get access to the second floor of the castle. A few of the second floor levels are some of the weakest in the game. Snowman's Land is a decent level. It's boring and mediocre. We already have a much better snow level, and nothing made this level stand out in comparison, so I just didn't care that much or remember it at all. I'd definitely say this is the most forgettable level in the game. Wet Dry World is a cool level. Well, it's an alright level with a cool concept. The concept of changing the level of the water is really cool, and it actually allows for some cool stars. And a really neat feature for the level is that the water will change based on how high you jump into the painting. I really like when levels change based off of outside actions. It's really cool. The actual design of the level is alright. It's nothing all that special. Like I said, the water level will change and I really like that. But besides that, the design is pretty basic. Tall Tall Mountain is actually one of my favorite levels in the game. It's a rather simple level, just the tall mountain, but it works really well for the game and is designed really well. Another level that is the perfect amount of open world and platforming. The level design is really good and works really well with the controls. Tiny Huge Island is another decent level. I mean, I like the concept of basically 2 levels in one. You can play the level as a tiny Mario or a huge Mario. When you are huge, you can walk all over the enemies and it's pretty fun, but you spend most of the time as tiny Mario. And the level is pretty annoying to traverse because everything is so big. The design for the level is cool though, I like it. Tick-Tock Clock is an interesting level. I like the design and layout, but the level was annoying as well, especially with the controls. Probably the worst level with the controls. This level was a pain in the ass to beat. Tight spaces and small platforms. It did not go well. And especially since you were scaling up this massive clock and one small step and you could fall to your death. The level itself was actually cool though. I really liked how the time on the clock will change the level itself. Again, I really like how outside forces can change the level. Rainbow Ride is my least favorite level. I hate this level. First off, it's boring and uninteresting as hell. It's just a bunch of floating clouds and rainbows. And I hated using the wing cap. I am really bad at using the wing cap, so that makes it objectively bad, right? But seriously, it was a pain in the ass to use, and the whole level is in the sky, so if you fall, you're dead. I just really did not like this level. So that was all of the 15 levels. Most of them I really liked, and a few of them I did not. There are 3 Bowser levels that you have to beat after each floor of the castle. Bowser in the Dark World, in the Fire Sea, and in the Sky. These are really good and challenging levels that test the player's skill. But of course, the controls fucks everything up. The tight platforming is so hard with the controls. It's not impossibly hard, but it's definitely frustrating. Aside from that, I really like the design of all the levels though. With the Fire Sea probably being my favorite. At the end of each Bowser level, there is a fight with Bowser. These fights are rather simple and easy. You pick up Bowser and you throw him. After a few throws, he's done. The third fight was a bit of a challenge, but it's still relatively easy. After the final fight with Bowser, Princess Peach is saved. It's your standard Mario ending. Peach kisses Mario on the nose and she bakes him a cake. Super Mario 64 was a revolutionary game that helped change gaming forever and still has a presence in gaming 25 years later. But it's not without its flaws. It has poor controls and poor camera and some iffy levels. But besides those issues, I really enjoyed this game. It's a game that still can be enjoyed by someone like me who played the game in recent years with technically far superior games like Super Mario Odyssey. For 1996, this game was a masterpiece, and for today, it's still a really good game and a really enjoyable game. I'm going to give Super Mario 64 a 9 out of 10. How? Look at this dude. Wait till you see this. Alright. In my opinion, newer games like Odyssey and Galaxy are better than 64, but this game still deserves the time and praise. And it's just really interesting to see where the 3D Mario games started. This has been Super Mario 64. Fuck you.